remember this thing as being such a remarkable story. What these children did was to find through the film, you know, the substance in which their ideas of romance and adventure and how to live and how to explore and secret treasure, and that our lives can be filled with the pursuit of treasure.
How you doing?
Good. Morning.
Come on in.
All right.
For years, you know, when we've screened around the country, people said, what about the last scene, you know? And
we thought, how cool would it be to reunite the cast and reunite the team and bring the people that you love the most back to your home state to complete your childhood dream? I mean, I think that's...
So this isn't an investment in a film where I'm likely to get anything back. This is...
Because we're not going to take it and actually... Yeah.
I understand. I'm just, you know... I mean, to give you money where you know you're never getting it back, you're gonna have a hard time.
Yeah,
okay?
I understand.
maybe that's a good segue to talk about the rewards and incentives of investing.
Yeah, so this is a video that Eric and I put together.
And in 1989, we finished every scene. Except for one.
The airplane scene. We never got to do that iconic scene where Indy fights the muscular Nazi amidst whirling propellers. For years, people have been urging us to...
People less committed would have given up or would have stopped and moved on.
Eric and I thank you in advance for your support.
So we're gonna do the entire scene all the way through to the plane blowing up at the end, and then cut back to the truck scene.
The Time Warner.
Right, it's kind of
Doctor
wild.
Who.
Yeah, yeah. And so people are...
Okay, I'm interested.
Okay.
Okay, look, here's what I'm doing. All right, the roll.
Yeah.
Okay.
As far as I'm concerned, that was successful. Yes. I'm gonna die right now.
So what do you think of the movie so far, Chris?
First of all, I couldn't believe that something like this existed. A feature-length, shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark starring kids made over the course of 7 years where their ages changed because it was shot out of order. It's just bizarre.
This was their entire life, from the time they were 10 to the time they were 19 years old, something insane. All of their summers were committed to this.
There's a story behind this, and as film geeks, we wanted to discover, like, what happened to these kids?
It's a shot film. It's one of the earliest shots, and the Javitos are running by, and I come by in I think I run by in my corduroy pants, and I hop over this little ledge, you know.
This sums up Chris's personality back then. Dear Eric, I'm including all the videotapes in this box. Just remember, those tapes are our lives. So if I somehow find out that the tapes are somewhat damaged or destroyed, I'll fly to Ocean Springs, eat your house, suffocate Kurt, poison Muffy, light your room on fire, and then chain you up from a tree in the yard and throw knives at you. I included the old drinking
That's
bottle.
so embarrassing.
Yeah. That you.
A peaceful child I was.
Chris, as a child, liked to create things. Whatever he had in his room, it looked different after he was finished attacking it.
Aside from collecting gunpowder and trying to blow the house up, he was pretty normal.
And I was like, I'm gonna make a bomb in my room. And I thought it would make this cool, like, and I lit it, and the whole box exploded in the room.
He came out of the room, he had a torn t-shirt, and I said, "Are you okay?" And he said, "Yeah, Mom," and he had smoke all over his face, and I said, "Good, because I'm gonna beat the living hell out of you."
This is our first picture together. You know, about 7 or 8 months before he left me, or he was taken away from me, whatever. Elaine and I had a divorce that was turbulent.
I started spending a lot of time sort of in my head, you know, and probably started feeling more comfortable in the fantasy world, you know.
He became very introspective, and I think and believe that, yes, the Raiders thing was a total fantasy that pulled him away from all of his reality.
I guess it was, what, July of '81 when it opened?
There she is.
And I saw this movie, and it just split me in half.
It is desired above all treasures on earth by those who are good, trust me, and those who are evil.
I'll tell you everything. Yes, I know you will.
It just blew my mind. Going to real places and talking about cool scientific archaeological things. God, he had a bullwhip and a hat and a jacket. He was just badass and could fight and, like, you know, stood for something. I just was like, this hero is awesome. And from that first viewing, I was like, I have to remake this movie. I have to create a playground for myself just to see if I can do it.
This is not a small favor. This is you are asking me to pretty much throw myself in front of this bus for you favor.
As a manager, I am in charge of multi-million-dollar titles, AAA video games for a video game publisher.
Eric is like receiving a lot of stress, you know, in terms of, hey, you've been spending a lot of time on the phone kind of thing. And in a corporate atmosphere, it's still kind of big brother.
You're taking vacation at a critical time in your project. That's got to do with our priorities.
It's an old paper from 1977. Like, it's an old Christ Episcopal Day School. So there's Eric. That's Eric. I'm not in there because I don't think I was in the school yet.
Eric was always very into comic book characters, to the point of that he was making his own costumes. He would make costumes for me, and I was Robin to his Batman, being the younger brother.
I was a big fan of DC Comics, Superman, Batman, and I drew my own on the back of these envelopes that my mom used.
I'd be walking around the house, and all of a sudden he would spring out from behind a corner wearing his Batman costume and tie me up, and then run away, and then come back without the costume and be like, well, you know, what happened to you? And I'd be like, well, you tied me up and then ran away.
I'm surprised they didn't rebuild anything here. I mean, I guess they rebuilt those churches, right?
This is where the elementary school was, right here. This was the main building. Eric, if you put the staff in a certain place, at a certain time of day, the sun shone through here, makes a beam on the floor here.
We had done Survivors Have It Tough. That got me bit by the film bug.
What was Survivors Have It Tough?
Survivors Have It Tough, 6th grade film project.
I knew where Eric was going. I could just tell he had that sense. I could tell he was driven to make films.
Oh, here we go. There's me.
He was dressed up like Tote, the black trench-coated Gestapo agent, and it was very adventurous, and this is cool. I gotta contact this guy.
Eric, how did Chris talk you into doing this?
Well, Chris and I rode the bus together. I think Chris was 11, I was 12, and I spotted this kid, Chris, with this Raiders Lost Ark comic book, and I asked to borrow it. And so I think Chris got it in his head that I was a Raiders fan, which I was. Hey, it's Chris. I'm doing this shot-for-shot remake of Raiders Lost Ark. Do you want
Once
to help?
they committed to making this film, once that became part of their lives, it's almost as if they've never been able to shake it, even up until now.
Okay, Quinn.
All right, Quinn, you want chicken tikka masala?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to eat a little quinoa, too.
Well, the first time the airplane scene idea was floated, he immediately, no, I'm not going to do that. But then he thought about it, and then you just see the excitement and just the childish boy come out, and he just has thrown himself 150% in.
Have you seen Raiders?
Yeah.
And how was it?
I think it might be rated 4.5 stars. She never says 5 for any movie in her entire life.
What do you give Raiders of the Lost Ark?
4.5.
While he would love to be back in film, and me too, it's just going to be a more thoughtful decision and making sure that we can support the family and not have to sell everything we own.
The fact that I get to do this, shoot the airplane scene, and begin the adventure again with my oldest friend.
God, I haven't seen this stuff in forever.
I kid you not, for 5 years after we finished, I would have a recurring dream that somewhere we would be shooting the airplane scene. On some level, it haunted me that we never did this, that we never...
Sweet. This guy, Mark, says, man, why in the hell are you paying $40,000 for an airplane? He goes, I could build you 3 airplanes in that time. And this is a guy, and people vouch for him. He was an expert builder. He built ships and planes before.
That's me, metalhead, all the way. Born, bred, eat, sleep, metal. That's me, baby. The first one was built for Indiana Jones, of course. It was built in England. The project cost $700,000 to build. It took them over a year to build it. This project is taking us 30 days to build with $20,000.
I had seen it before. These guys did a shot-for-shot remake since they were like teenagers of Raiders, and it is god-awful. I don't know.
No, it's great.
I don't.
It's great.
Why would you?
I haven't put this jacket on since 1988. Congratulations, your project is live on Kickstarter.
You're shooting this in April, right?
Yeah.
That's our rain season.
I don't. Why would you want to? Why would you want to watch a bad version of Raiders? No, it's not. It's stupid. It's a waste of money. They wasted countless hours of their lives making a bad version of Raiders. I think Spielberg should sue them. Tim and Hackman.
Eric? Hey. I've been driving around for 30 minutes.
Oh, I'm sorry, man. No.
I tried to call you a couple of
75-foot flying wing in progress.
Cool.
Yeah.
Into a skeleton.
I mean, they're building this thing to fly.
It's pretty sturdy, yeah. Well,
They're not building it as a movie prop.
Well, my concern is that, okay, the outer structure and everything blows.
Right.
You know, if he can blow through this, that's C4.
You use C4?
This is a movie.
Okay.
Once I hit that button, I got to make sure that my actor is not hurt.
Right.
Right now, I can't guarantee this right now. This worries me. I'm very worried.
And I'm worried too.
Let's do this.
At one point, it was going to be Raiders Lost Ark kids version, I think, was the original idea for the title.
Yeah, yes. Writers, plot.
Right.
Originals. George L. Stephen S. God.
Oh, dear.
So back then, I would either hang out in the backyard, stare at the birds and the bees and the clouds, or I was inside watching shows like Gilligan's Island.
Don Wells signing this What Talent, Mary Ann.
I don't remember how I met Jason. I just don't. I think we met at the school, and he was just this creative oddity.
I did go over to his house a couple of times. He doesn't remember. We were friends before we started Raiders, in my mind.
And how did you come to be part of the project?
Well, originally, before Raiders of the Lost came out, when I was in 4th grade, I was fascinated with the classic horror movie makeup, like Frankenstein, Wolfman, Jacques Cocteau's Beauty and the Beast. But when Raiders came out, I was like, wow, I can make a career out of this.
I originally thought of doing it as Tom Savini described, running a small electrical current up to a squib.
So Chris and Eric brought me on because they couldn't do the special effects. They did not have that extra creativity thinking outside of a box, because I wasn't in a box.
You know, Jason's an interesting person because he was into the Grateful Dead, he smoked dope, he was into like nudist shamanic dancing and jewelry and puppetry and...
There's things that Chris couldn't do, so Eric took on things that Eric did. And so we start thinking ourselves a little bit of a trio.
Okay, Jason, Eric, you know, come on guys, let's do Raiders.
Here are... I finally, years later, Xeroxed all of them and bound them together and made 3 copies for Chris and Jason and I. Drawn from memory, because of course Raiders was not out on videotape at this time. So
he saw the movie once, and those storyboards are dead on. He is amazingly well-rounded left-brain person.
This is interesting. We actually have the airplane scene storyboarded. Pilot here, running away from the single-engine airplane, and then fake plane.
Now you had seen Raiders of the Lost Ark, right?
Oh, yes.
So you knew what they were getting into.
I did.
Did you really believe that they were going to be able to do it?
Well, Elaine and I were friends, but we weren't close friends because her life was very different. She was married to Jimmy Love, who owned the Channel 13 station, and that allowed her to borrow a camera for the boys.
They'll run it. You'll come back and stop her.
No way.
I couldn't carry my big recorder.
Oh, God, I couldn't look through there and get your shot.
Oh, wow, okay. See?
Okay, hey, shooting, right?
One day they were like, hey, do you want to be in this movie? And yeah, you know, what do I need to do?
I started off as a Jovito Indian. It was kind of weird. I was probably the whitest Indian you ever seen in your life.
Came over, started shooting the bull. Next thing I know, we're in the movie.
Every Christmas vacation, spring break, it was just, can you come? Can you dress up? Can you bring a Nazi soldier? Can you be, anything?
I played Dog Man, German soldier. I was a Arab digger.
The rats in the movie were actually my gerbils.
I think I played 40 parts in the picture, I believe, and also was second cameraman, and also was wrangler for getting all my friends to play Jovitos or Arab diggers or Nazi soldiers or whatever, Eric needed.
Eric and Chris just frantically going through everything like they knew it would work. It doesn't matter.
Take 1. Take 2. Take 3.
They needed someone to be solid, which as a 11-year-old with a really bad haircut, kind of gangly, and they wanted me to be this portly Egyptian digger with a beard.
They have not one brain among them.
They suited me up, they went through some of the shots and taped a beard on my face. And
I knew the Germans would hire you, Sally. You're the best digger in Egypt.
My experience are entirely inconsequential.
Services.
Well, I kept talking, all right?
Action. I knew the Germans would hire you, Sally. You're the best digger in Egypt.
They really never talked about it as being a remake, by the way. We're making Raiders of the Lost
How do you get this? Let's go.
Suddenly I get a call from Elaine. One of the guys at the studio saw them editing this print with this fire. And she said, we need to talk.
I knew this needed to be really spectacular. And I'm embarrassed to say that I asked the guys to douse my back with gasoline that day.
We had a guy with a blanket that was ready to put it out, But instead of putting it on, he took it off, took it on, and started waving the flames. So it took.
Thankfully, Chris springs into action. He grabs me and throws me down, and eventually they get the fire extinguisher and blast me with it.
And my then spouse, who was really not an advocate of this project at all, decided that it was time to shut the production down.
Okay, so the number that I get is $3,705 in the red.
In terms of covering the gap, Cass and I are going to step forward and shoulder that cost.
We can, let's just say.
Yeah, we can, yes. I've got a bonus. I've got while I don't have it in hand, that's going to give us about $2,000.
This is a 6-minute total scene. You know, that's a pretty complicated series of shots. I mean, these fistfight shots and, you know, and moving airplanes and explosions and how often do you have a scene with a camel?
Dave is always worried that they don't have enough time and enough money to do it the way that they want to do it.
We need ice, we need lumber, we need your space, we need clothes, we need this, we need fuel. We need
We've got a shortfall which is growing. Looks like that shortfall is currently expanded to $17,000, which is frightening. We're going to go over the budget again, see what else we can cut. There's got to be stuff.
From right here to the 33 yards times 3 is what?
It's a beautiful project. It's a coming home for those 2 kids that I remember as children.
Which we're going to have the place where the airplane turns.
I had to have a very difficult conversation with Francisco in the car this morning, basically saying, I can't pay you, man. He was a little shocked. Where did all the money go? I said, well, here's the breakdown.
If I cannot take what he takes, then I don't want to be part of it.
I got an email from him at the end of the day over dinner, basically telling us that he's out. You know, where did the money go? And then we went through the budget and we talked about things. So I think
I see that there's money to be spent in other things that are less important, and in my opinion. But you know, I'm just a producer with 20, 30 years experience. What do I know?
This is a danger, right? We've got a different DP, but yet there's an opportunity for a shakeup, for change.
Mm-hmm.
And that change could be any number of things.
Yeah.
We talked about some possibilities. Another is to reunite the trio, to have Jason be DP. Now,
Oh my God.
I know, I'm throwing it out.
No, I know that's very.
And as kids, Jason was the DP. You and Chris are back to shoot this scene. Why isn't Jason?
Ah, gotcha. Okay. So
this, I think, was probably the best effect I did in the movies. For the ghost, I thought, why not just put a piece of cloth on a black stick, get a fish tank. I don't have a fish tank, but back then I had a fish tank. And then fill up with water.
Jason's cool because he's uncool. You know, Jason's cool because he's so bizarre.
Hello, my name is Jason Lamb. I was the audiovisual technician on our little movie that I did with Chris and Eric.
He wanted to do the blow up a real plane, you know, like they did when they were kids. I'm like, I mean, that's crazy. You can't, it's just bad, that's dangerous.
Jason wanted to go in a different direction. He wanted the plane to be miniature.
We need to do it like the real movies. They don't use real planes, they make a prop.
After a lot of deliberation, I'd gone to know we're going to build the plane, you know, full scale, and if we're going to build it, heck, we really want to blow it up.
So you got this part shooting the flames at the camera, and then you got a fireball in the background. So together, hopefully.
Jason, I think, was rather crestfallen that we didn't go for that idea.
Them going off and wanting to remake this last scene this way is perfectly okay to me, and I could see why I'm outsourced on it without blame.
And then there's the emotional baggage and the possible great negativity and whatnot. Anyway, bottom line, though I bring it up, I think the risks outweigh all, but...
Francisco Gonzalez.
Francisco, first off, Francisco, I wanted to apologize for what's happened. I want you to know that it was never...
you know, it's at a crossroads. Pull the plug now or spend more money than you planned.
Now, 5,000, of course, I mean, that's everything we have. Would you be able to help us out
I'm on board.
with the gear?
I never wanted to leave.
Not ready to give up, so here we go.
We would not have survived as a species if we did not find a way of hunting together.
There she is.
Most of the things we hunt are bigger and stronger than us. The only way we can have an advantage is if we collaborate and if we use our brains.
I want to thank everybody who helped me to make a wonderful, wonderful little film.
They want to adjust the camel so that he's on the outside of that white.
It's been since 1993 was the last time that I directed. It's been a while. Action.
What do you think about this compared to how it was in the 80s? How's it different?
Well, everybody's over 12 here. I mean, so that's a little different.
Quiet on the set! Quiet on the set!
Quiet, please.
Camera rolling.
Good boy. Go on, back to one.
Oh, no.
So, we've had some setbacks. Fan motors were apparently burned out by the underpowered generator. And then it started raining. If we don't get it, if we don't finish all 124 shots within these 9 days, come rain or what have you, then it never will be finished. I mean, this is pretty much it.
They had really high standards. You know, they weren't just going to settle. They didn't just say, well, we'll just shoot this thing and let's move on. They really, really had standards. They really wanted it to be good.
Is your Zoom, are you playing with this Zoom at all?
No, but
you
red's
wide?
back on again.
Huh?
It's off now.
Right. Look,
No,
when
I'm
you balance for this, see, that's why this dark...
I mean, we were 2 years in at this point.
And it all looked bad.
And it was unwatchable.
Yeah, it was really bad. I think the idea was we were going to shoot it from a really low angle. It would appear as if this great cylindrical boulder was rolling after me.
Oh, yeah, that looks good.
There's no nice way to put it. It stunk.
Yeah, this little, I'm like running from it.
Action.
And then we had that problem of the Betamax imprinting
the A,
an
A in the
stoop
corner.
A camera can type letters on it, and I didn't realize it was on the footage for the first 3 years. And yeah, the acting's bad too, and everything else is bad. So Eric's like, okay, refilm it.
They pleaded what would be required of them to be allowed to continue filming that. And Elaine and I said, adult supervision.
Here on the technical crew, we only drink Budweiser. Speaking of which, where is Underwood?
He rented one of Mom's cottages, a sometime actor, and extra in Dawn of the Dead.
George Romero, he said, hey, do you want to rip somebody's guts apart? And I said, sure. And I think I was on screen for maybe 2 seconds at most.
Basically, he just sort of hung around in the back and drank beer and walked his dog. And he was going to be the adult supervisor.
They got Peter to come over and tell me that he would keep an eye on him and not let anybody get hurt. So I said, okay.
3, 2, action.
When you look at the original fire that freaked out the moms and had them shut down production and compare that to the fire that they actually created afterwards, it's mind-boggling. There's 10 times more fire.
Actually gave us direction as to where to put the fire.
Behind the bar.
In the corner. And so here's this guy who is supposed to be responsible for kind of making sure that the fire doesn't get out of hand, saying, more fire.
How about some on the front of the bar? Right up, yeah, that's it. That's it, that's perfect.
We found an adult even less responsible than we were.
Forget old America.
Let's do it again real quick.
Nothing better to do.
The fact that they didn't burn down the house is a miracle.
Okay.
Tuna, Francisco. Francisco, stop. We are currently dealing with the plane.
Pulling it is breaking?
No, it's not breaking, but we have to pull it over every time.
When you put 4 wheels on the ground and you push them, what happens to them? Do they turn? No, they go straight.
Listen to me. The plane is very hard to move. We have to think about the shots we're doing.
I understand.
It's not moving back anymore.
I think that the sense of urgency needs to be heightened. 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. And then it rains, and then we lose half a day. I'm just getting worried that we're in terms of time.
They're totally the odd couple. Chris was this flamboyant, outgoing child, you know, always animated.
You know, he wanted to fight the bad guys, and I wanted to see what would a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark with teenage actors look like.
Eric was very methodical, very determined in a lot of ways.
Are you comfortable with where we're at?
I would like to be further along.
Right.
Rigid and uptight and very nerdy and thorough and accurate and precise and...
Well, Chuck's just left.
Hey! What you doing?
Isn't it amazing?
I know. It's cool, actually, to have both my parents here. It's very strange. I've spent my entire life with them being apart, you know, and they're both here at sort of a critical moment. I guess that is telling.
I mean, I know what they did on the dirt pit before and the sunlights. Do you remember the sunset scene?
I saw them through the kitchen window, but I had no idea the extent to which Chris was doing those things because I let them be.
You know, when you're that young, you think you have it safe. And you really don't. There's always a chance that there's, you know, food bark real quick. And God was on our side a few times, except with Eric in the mask.
You remember these?
I do.
Artifacts from the plaster mold that would have been. Because, of course, I played Belloc, and Belloc's face blows up in the end. Things didn't go quite according to plan.
I was in here in the office working at my desk, and they were right on the back porch.
I got a shower cap on, 2 cut straws stuffed up my nose so I can breathe, and Chris and Jason lop on the plaster on my face. The world disappears from view. About 5 minutes in, I start to feel this tremendous building heat. Turns out, instead of getting dental plaster, got industrial plaster, which contains a heating agent.
Eric says I grabbed the wrong type of plaster. That's not true. People use industrial plaster, as stupid as it may be, in mold making.
As the plaster set on Eric's face, it got very warm and everyone got nervous.
So Chris and Jason reach around the back of my head to pull it off, and all of a sudden I'm in excruciating pain around my eyes.
My art teacher told me that one of his students didn't put Vaseline over the eyebrow. So when they took it off, her skin around her face came with it. And the problem is, like Mr. Davis, I forgot the Vaseline.
You can still see the hairs from my eyelashes and eyebrows. There's the eyelashes right there.
Mary has no idea we're back here doing any of this.
Yeah, but she sees a squad car pulling into the driveway.
I was very unhappy with Jason that he didn't tell me first before he called the police.
And by this time, they had started to just wail at at least the bottom part to get access to his mouth because everyone was getting extremely nervous about whether he could breathe.
The mask had hardened on Eric's face, so Eric was pretty scared at this point.
So I remember the policeman was just like, what the hell are y'all doing, you know?
I drove Eric to the emergency room.
A surgeon comes in with a scalpel and pries up and saws away at the infinitesimally small space between my eyelids and eyebrows, and
one eyebrow especially was pretty much whacked off.
I had to borrow my mom's eyebrow pencil to fill in my eyebrows to return to high school. I can talk about this now.
Our parents were off putting out fires in their own worlds. And so all of us, you know, we kind of had just free reign, if you will, you know.
And I was busy trying to earn a living and keep food on the table.
It is September 5th, 1987 at approximately 11:24 and 20 seconds. This is our 7th day of shooting for the truck scene. 5 more shots and then we are going to party.
You know, it's both our favorite scene, you know, and shooting from multiple moving vehicles and stunts and dragging under. And
our biggest challenge in the truck scene is we had a truck, yes, but it had no engine.
That's right, you heard correctly. This truck has no engine.
There were no brakes. My brother constructed this elaborate pulley system that you had to pull up on this hammer attached to a string. Really hard to get the truck to, you know, brake to a stop.
Scary when you're hanging off the front of it, let me tell
you. Who was looking after your stunt sequences? Who was advising you on this?
Absolutely no one.
We just kind of wung it as best we could, you know, elbow pads, you know, we built wooden platforms to catch people.
Suicidal shot, take 1. Action. I can't do it, man, stop. I'm gonna die right now.
I'm so hot and so dirty!
Okay, speed up, Kurt. Speed up, speed up.
I'm sitting there holding on for dear life, and they keep going faster and faster. I'm sitting there like, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die. And I look down and the tires right between my legs. I'm gonna get run over. I was 16. After we finished, it was the best damn feeling I ever had in my life.
I think the key in not getting in a lot of trouble after we lit Eric on fire is not really keeping our parents extremely well informed as to what we were doing.
This is it. This is the tree. It's like, guys, get the truck as close to here because I just can't leap.
On the internet, somebody had written, seems like a good example of bad parenting to me.
She realized even if there's a little bit of physical risk, you know, a far better thing for them to be doing with their time than all the other kind of trouble we could be getting into.
What'd you think?
I love it, and straw huts.
What's your favorite part?
Well, I don't know. That's hard.
I think it's amazing that Steven Spielberg needed $20 million to make Raiders of the Lost Ark, and my dad only needed his allowance.
You hear that 2 kids want to shoot a movie, and you say, well, that's great. Well, these 2 kids didn't shoot My Dinner with Andre. You know, they decided to shoot, at the time, the most spectacularly difficult movie with all of these incredible effects.
You remember that blows up in the scene?
So, wow, that's a small world. So I just found out that his dad built our boulder.
Building the boulder became a sort of theme because they wouldn't give up. They couldn't figure it out.
Okay, so this is the 5th and final boulder after 4 unsuccessful attempts.
We started first year, stayed up in Chris's room, building this boulder out of crisscross bamboo stalks, duct tape, and cardboard.
When they finished it, there was no way to get it out of the room. It was just stuck in there.
Boulder number 2, cable spool. Boulder number 3, 8-foot-high weather balloon. Boulder number 4, chicken wire.
A hurricane came through and sucked it, literally.
Boulder number 5.
This one.
I met a man who did fiberglass work.
Was it 4 years in at this point? We finally had our 6-foot-high spherical boulder.
So this is where I had the grocery cart, and I was pushing Jason and the grocery cart down the length of the driveway.
What was the little detail you were most proud of?
In the original, there was a monkey. And for some strange reason, there was a shortage of monkeys in Mississippi in the 1980s. So we used a hound dog. He was sort of a terrier. And that was my puppy, Snick the Wonder Dog. And Snick was a good dog, good puppy. One of the things the monkey does in the original is that the monkey salutes and does like a Sikh Heil. Well, we thought, okay, well, how the hell are we going to do that? Well, we ended up tying some fishing line to the dog's paw. And
they had Snickers on my shoulder and had the string all rigged up. And the dog's like, hi, Hitler.
No question, this is it. So when Chris and I found this little nook, this little alcove We knew that we had finally found our Cairo street fight location.
We're like hanging out on this little indie set.
And all of a sudden this guy asks what we're doing. We're doing a shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark. We're gonna shoot. I said, you are not. I'm gonna call the cops on y'all.
Marion, get out of here! Duck!
He turns and leaves.
And we just continued on with our setup.
I guess this was the spot.
I guess that was the spot.
I mean, it didn't blow it. I guess they knocked the rest of the brick out.
So like 5 cop cars show up and we're surrounded by police. Them boys are making porno movies behind that fabric sheets.
Right. Or at least that's what he told the cops to show up.
The cops, he knew my mom or something like that. It ended up being all fine. But Snickers lives on as the evil Nazi spider monkey.
Quiet, please. Quiet, please.
That's going to be quite a storm.
All right, guys, due to a weather situation, we're going to go ahead and wrap today. Get some wind here.
Distressing.
You did great today, man.
I've been sitting out here with the shots for about an hour, and there's been ear-splitting thunderclaps and torrential rain coming down. Hopefully, we're dry on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I cannot get a single day off further from work. My boss is out and out, told me that I'll be fired if that's the case. And so many people that are counting on me, you know. My son, you know, who tells me, you know, when I tuck him in at night that he's so proud of his daddy for going after his childhood dream. I can't let him down either. Nothing's ever messed with us like rain. When we're doing the Tannistig scene, we got a couple shots in, and then everyone huddled underneath this canopy and
Come on, it's raining.
Tannis was tough. I think the dig scenes were the worst.
Yeah, I told you. 10 o'clock.
Everything was always soggy and wet and damp and mildewy.
That's pure mud. There's no water there. It's all mud.
So what do you feel about the film now? It sucks.
one of the toughest things really was enduring the naysaying. I guess probably Ted the most, you know. Ted was our main bad guy, Totes, the Gestapo agent.
I hate wearing this stupid goddamn costume.
It's like, you know what, we're never gonna finish. And if we do, nobody's gonna watch this thing. And for all I knew, he was right.
Well, when I consider all the stuff that they gave up.
She'll bring a very good price.
For birthdays, you get, money to build a set.
Chris, your birthday's coming up. Can you ask for the leather jacket?
And then, for Christmas, you ask for, okay, we need to get the Indy hat and the whip.
Bicycling to the local Salvation Army to buy Boy Scout uniforms to make Nazi uniforms,
3, Mom, get out of the shot. All right, does it take? 3.
Just the idea that these two guys were able to make this movie over a period of 7 years, to me, is absolutely mind-boggling.
Who's got that much time and energy to spend that many years making one movie that's already been made?
Hey, you look great. Welcome. So today, a new addition, Angela Rodriguez, who played our Marion back over the course of the 7 years, has returned.
Eric approached me at church. He asked me slightly clumsily, if I wanted to go do a film.
She was older, pretty, was thoroughly intimidated, but...
And that was summer vacation for the next 7 years.
Angela Rodriguez.
Okay,
Angela Rodriguez.
faster this time, though.
All right.
Okay.
Angela had feist, She definitely had Marion's spunkiness.
were you ever attracted to him, like crush kind of way, anything like that?
Well, but as a young teenager.
Did you have a crush on her?
Oh my God, yeah. She was a little older and very hot.
Chris said, you know, I think we should shoot the cabin scene. I said, really? One where Indy and Marion kiss? Yeah, okay.
Chris had never kissed a girl before, and so, you know, I heard a lot about that anticipation.
I didn't know what to do. You know, I just had no idea, like walking into the dark, but it was like, but we have to do it. You know, this has to be the first scene that we shoot with Angela for some reason.
So this is the room where we filmed the cabin scene.
I can tell Chris is nervous. He's concerned about taking his shirt off, but Harrison does it, so there's no turning back, certainly at this point.
Cleared the set, which means we kicked Kurt out of the room.
Yeah, we're gonna have a fire trail from there all the way to there, and
Eric sends me an email saying, Chris and I really want you to be part of it. I'm like, oh, what part? Well, you could follow the pyrotechnic around and learn from him. I'm like, that's not a position.
Chris and Eric have somewhat eliminated him from the major part of this project, but at one point they were a trio.
Different people see things differently, and it's not necessarily one person's bad, and it's not necessarily misunderstanding, it's just we see things differently.
There's some connective tissue out over the course of the years with our Raiders of people feeling left out.
Instead of a trio, it seemed to be Chris and Eric, and then also sidekick Jason, as he put it.
An interview came up with Chris and Eric with Good Morning South Mississippi.
Good morning, South Mississippi.
Good morning, and good morning to all of you on this Wednesday, July the 16th. We're going to talk to some young filmmakers this morning.
Barbara Salone asked Chris, what's your favorite part of filmmaking?
Technical work, special effects, lighting. I love all that.
I'm like,
and
hey,
I also love acting.
the cameraman. Who's the cameraman? Who's the special?
You know, there was an article in the Clarion Ledger in which there was a photo of me next to one of Jason's corpses.
And I don't remember exactly what it said, but my impression, the way I took it, is here's the thing that Eric made. And I was like, what?
Mellow shooting day today. We just got a couple more shots.
If this is about playing Indiana Jones, it's about seeing what we can do. That's great, and I wish him the best. If this is about trying to get a job, I don't mean to be insulting. I really do wish everything, and I hope I am wrong on this. But it seems to me when a producer looks at a movie and says, hey, yeah, that shot-for-shot thing you did as a kid, that was great. What do you got now?
Cool, man. Well, nice to have you here.
Oh, an updated shot-for-shot of the same movie. What did you do that's original? Because when you're a producer, you need to see how a director takes an abstract script.
Is that what you want, in fact?
I would say maybe a bit of just kind of pointing out key places and events. And
This is where my alcoholic stepfather beat up my mom. This is where my stepfather took our dog and threw it against the wall, breaking its leg. I hope that didn't really happen.
Yeah. Chris was over. I think we were down in the basement.
I just remember so much.
My mom comes down, uncharacteristically serious, and says, Eric, I'm afraid Chris needs to go home. And they gathered us in the living room, my dad and mom, Kurt and I. And mom said to dad, okay, well, tell him, Jim. And he says, boys, your mother and I decided to get a divorce. And I just remember being stunned. I mean, my world just sort of dropped out from under me, and I couldn't believe it, and I was horrified. I mean, I heard about other kids' parents getting divorced, but not here, not us.
At the end of the 7th grade, my mom told me that my parents were getting divorced.
My parents were recently divorced. My mom got an apartment, I don't know, 3 or 4 houses down from Minnie Oaks.
You know, it's just what parents did back then.
This has all changed, all this brickwork.
Yeah.
My folks traded me a lot. You know, I felt the true sort of tug and pull of the divorce.
Wow, that same skiff. That's the same skiff, man.
You're kidding. That was the skiff we used?
Yeah. My mom was a news reporter for the local TV station. She was like the first female anchor in the state of Mississippi.
Jock from here was fishing.
And Jimmy owned the TV station. They started a secret relationship with each other.
The toughest times were watching my son attempt to finish this project with a lot of domestic issues going on in our home.
His stepfather, I remember what he went through, and it was very hard on Chris and the mother.
He was a drinker, he was violent, he was a screamer, he beat up my mom, he beat up his kids.
My dad and I, very different. He was financially irresponsible. I want to be financially responsible. He was unfaithful. Being faithful and true is very important to me.
Think about, the movie Goonies, and all of those kids. They were the outcasts, Parents are getting divorced. Parents are losing houses.
Hey, any of you guys ever hear of Detroit? No. Well, let me tell you what, that's where we move in when we lose a house tomorrow. You shut up about that stuff, it'll never happen. My dad will fix it.
Yeah, sure he will.
We all grew up with daddy issues, and I think we're all constantly sort of searching for this male figure to emulate. And we pick up pieces of different men that we meet in our lives as father figures, and we assemble them into what we think we need to be.
In some ways, Raiders might have been a refuge, something to throw myself into.
We just kept saying dysfunction breeds creativity, apparently, because these young boys are coming through this dysfunction with just a rousing need to build and do and create something that is lasting, and they did.
These kids had a really hard time, and but they didn't when they were out there with Chris and Eric. We were the ones that would, through all of our innovations and just tricks and, not being part of the norm, we're going to find One-Eyed Willie's treasure. We were the Goonies.
Okay. We ready?
2, 1, fire.
Stay with the ox! Stay with the ox!
I actually was supposed to leave this morning, but I called my wife and talked to her last night.
Most people notice when they watch the end credits that, wow, Kurt Zala sure appears a lot.
Me and my brother Kurt. Kurt is a great hero of our little film.
Eric, as the big brother, felt like Kurt should do everything he told him to, and pretty much Kurt went along with it.
What was that, Kurt? Today, me and Alan have gotten yelled at so much, it's unbelievable. So, we don't care anymore. I think we're going to go on strike for this movie. It's just not worth it.
He was the second Nazi in the bar scene. Innumerable Arab diggers, Arab henchmen, pirates.
When you're a younger brother, you're trying to prove you're worthy to your older brother.
Any facial expressions in particular? Agony.
The shot in which I duct tape Roman candles to both arms and have someone set them aflame and point them at my brother standing in front of me.
Well, you hit my arm once, and you hit my arm twice. That's it for me.
I only hit his arm.
We met a pair of young movie makers who are filming their own version of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Their summer project is the subject of tonight's page 13.
Action sequence, take 1. Action.
1985 or so, I get a story tip, and of course I roll my eyes, and I say, really, am I going to go out and do this story?
This project has been 5 years in the making. Eric's Ocean Springs home has been transformed.
We led him through the maze of sets, from the Well of Souls with the hot water heater, made up to look like a giant jackal statue, or the map room with the painstakingly drawn hieroglyphics and Egyptian wall paintings and 18 miniature buildings below.
Who could forget the scene when Indiana Jones lowers himself into a...
The house was a movie set for over 5 years. And I would stumble across the scenes.
Right here is the living room in my mom's house back in the day when it was rather dilapidated. I mean, we didn't have...
His mom, barely hanging on.
I was supporting the family pretty much, selling insurance, and made me a much better salesman because I really needed to.
It's kind of a fortuitous thing that we didn't have much money back then because, well, you can set up a tent in the living room for a year.
They constructed a giant piece of blue plastic that was taped onto a frame, And when it wasn't being used, it was suspended from the ceiling.
This wall was where the raven was spray painted onto the wall. This also served as the idol room earlier on in the movie. To the right of you is where the map room was, and then there's a stairwell behind you, and that was where Indy jumps over the pit. I don't know, it just seems obvious at the time once you've decided to do a movie, and that this is clearly where, you know, you have to do it.
You have to remember that while they're making this movie, they're still high school kids, and they're still dealing with all of the aspects of high school.
I know this is going to come as a terrible shock, but I was kind of a geeky kid back then. Didn't know a lot of girls. I know.
Kathy was Eric's kind of first true love, first girlfriend.
Eric and Chris's friendship began to splinter.
The last few years, they both didn't want to do it anymore.
I really want to get this scene done. Why? Just drive me goddamn nuts and I'm freaking out.
We were tired, you know? It was like, God, when is this going to be over?
Where are you? Huh? Where are you? Where are you?
He loved that megaphone, and he would, you know, he'd be like right here, and he'd...
Great. Remember, Kurt, depending on you now.
It was like in like hair director mode, you know, and it was stressing us out.
That is the first time I've ever seen Eric flip someone off.
The last final shot of Angela and I tied to the pole and baby powder blowing on us for the ghosts and all that kind of stuff. That was the last shot, and I was like, so what?
Never, ever again. We never have to film anything.
Big deal. Who cares? See you later, guys. Who cares? Yip, hooray.
Kathy and I fell in infatuation with each other.
I think there was a part of my personality that wanted to see if I could corrupt her.
I call Kathy at home, and I can't reach her. Oddly, I can't reach Chris either.
I'll put the doors on, and we'll smoke some dope, and, you know, aren't I so much cooler than Eric, you know?
And sure enough, as soon as I see through the window Chris's minivan pulling into the driveway, Kathy calls me. The timing is really sort of odd.
I wasn't really physically attracted to her. You know, she just wasn't my style, wasn't my type. But I just wanted to see if I could do it.
Did they have sex? No. Did they hold hands? No. Did they kiss? No. Did they do anything that funds an affair? No. But in their hearts.
And I swore a blue streak like I had never had before. And I told him what a son of a bitch he was. And slammed down the phone. Done. I will never work with that guy again.
Shot now. Shoot it now! Get out, guys, get out. What?
Well, that's messed up the previous shot. They couldn't get out of the shot in time.
Gonna roll
the plane rolls if we don't stay here.
Okay, someone give me a 2x4. There's no break. Give me a 2x4.
Is there a place where
give me a 2x4? Somebody give me a 2x4. He's getting it. Push, everyone, and give me a 2x4. It's coming behind you.
It really has been difficult because of the heat. We were here during the hottest time of the year.
It was a really tough shoot. There were days when it was 129 degrees.
135 degrees Fahrenheit.
What happened? And I got a bug there that, I tell you. I remember Stephen saying, can you get down a little bit lower to give him a better eye line? As I bent my knees, how can I put this euphemistically? I filled my jalaba in front of 200 people, and I really didn't care. I lost 22 pounds in about 2 days. It was really tough, and I certainly hope that those young filmmakers that we're talking about now didn't have to go through the same experience.
They were in college by the time it was finished.
I know I said that I'd never work with Chris again, and I meant it. I really, really believed it. Still, I realized the tragedy of it. I mean, 6 years in, 6 years.
X marks the spot.
It's the summer of '89, and Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade comes out. And I said, I know we're not speaking and all, but you want to go see the third one? All right, sure, why not?
It belongs in a museum. Dad! Oh, Dad! Oh, Dad! You call this archaeology? Get out of there, Dad!
A couple days later, Chris called me and said, you know, I've been thinking.
They were still not on good terms with each other. There was a lot of hostility in the air when they were together. But Elaine, Chris's mother, arranged to have a premiere showing.
Well, this is about as close as the coast gets to an old-fashioned Hollywood premiere, you know, from the golden age of the silver screen. Chris Strompoulos, Eric Zala, and Jason Lamb have just finished an 8-year recreation.
And we were in the limo, and we were all in the limo together. I had this black and blue tie-dye tux on.
Special effects whiz Jason Lamb sums this night of nights up in 6 words.
Impossible dream that finally came true.
So, why is the old page...
When we finished that movie and it was on a VHS tape, and Chris begged me, he said, Mom, we've got to mail it to Spielberg. And I said, oh, yeah, right.
So when we finally finished, and after, you know, what I was left with after that premiere, is a sense of relief and a bit of melancholy. You know, the best things in life are bittersweet, and so was this. You know, I had my videotape, and that was it.
So Brooke is gone.
Brooke, my AD, is a vet AD, but unfortunately when they're shouting and do this and that,
He'd reached the point that he couldn't work effectively anymore, so he left.
Michael Mobley, our second AD, is stepping to the first AD slot.
We lost all our PAs. All of them? It's going to come down to us. All of them but one.
Who are we to try this? I mean, this is like really hard.
He gets stressed. I mean, so stressed, and he thinks it's impossible, of course, because it really is impossible.
Thanks for wanting me to have this.
Of course. I cannot imagine being that wife who would get frustrated with you for doing what you want to do. I want you to be happy. We met at our 10-year high school reunion. I stepped out of the bathroom and he was standing there.
And we were inseparable for 10 days and flew back, and she came out to visit me for a couple weeks.
They were living together, but I wouldn't say they were really friends at that point.
I fell on hard times and moved out from the girlfriend, and Eric was always sort of saving my ass.
And it was great for a while. The whole reason why I'm in Los Angeles is to be a screenwriter and a director, a filmmaker.
And he found a job doing game testing.
It struck everybody as really, really smart right off the bat. He was very quickly moved up from just a general tester to a higher level position.
And he started to kind of move away from, you know, getting out there and pushing himself as a filmmaker.
Says, you know, I'm creating a new position in the department, senior lead, and congratulations.
So I was angry at Eric for that. Like, you gave up, man.
He sort of feels like Eric gave up. Well, I think that's probably a little bit true, isn't it?
He was probably very frustrated with Eric because he always felt like he sold out and he was the corporate man.
Chris went off to his reunion and came back with Uriah, a stripper that he'd met.
It just slowly progressed downward.
It was hell.
Eric was trying to legitimize his life and establish a corporate job and get married. And
I get a call in the middle of the night. It's Chris. He's calling from jail. He was suspected of a domestic incident.
We tore the apartment apart, and, you know, it was just a mess.
So Cassie and I packed up my little Miata and drove out of LA and leaving LA, and Chris behind us, and I didn't know where he was, and didn't matter.
I loved cocaine. Talk about it, my hands started to sweat. I moved in with a buddy of mine, a fellow addict, and then he turned me onto this thing called crystal meth, you know, and I got into meth, and that was...
Eric has always been a rope for my son to hold on to.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Cut.
I'm calling off Chad Shuttleworth. I'm canceling the German reenactors and the truck and trying to reschedule that for tomorrow.
We're going to DEF CON 1, which is evaluating people's availability to extend the shoot one day, which is a far larger thing than it may sound, as I've been told that I'll be fired if I'm not in the office Monday at 8.
I don't think the words "you're going to be fired" were used. I think it was...
Process the paperwork for termination.
Are you serious?
Yeah. Well, is that if I call
I'm
in
not
sick
sure if
on
this thing was
Monday-
actually supposed to be done or not. I think it might have been kind of like a wine that stayed in the cellar too long and kind of vinegared out. You know, there's nothing you can do to it to make it taste good, you know?
Yeah,
Hey, am I catching you at a good time?
I'd like to talk. What's up?
Okay. Filming is gone well. We're everything is. We've overcome every obstacle except for one. We've been rained out for about half the days, and I'm calling to ask a favor. If there is any way that instead of me being back at the office Monday 8 a.m., if you would permit me to return Wednesday 8 a.m. I'm asking for 2
No,
more
I don't
days.
think I can. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little frustrated. I feel like you've gone back. We keep going back to this well, and you keep asking for more and more.
The rain is...
I know,
Yeah.
but it's not my fault. The rain.
I understand, yeah.
You know, I mean, it's his livelihood. He gets a paycheck from that, but, you know, obviously this is what he wants to do. And for him to sort of go and have to beg for a single day.
For somebody who doesn't want to ask me to do this for you, you keep asking. Right?
Yep,
So, I need some time.
I understand.
I need some time. I'll take a look at it. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Bye. Well, that was pleasant.
Now, there was a time when YouTube and internet video did not exist, and the tapes were passed around. It was almost like an underground tape railroad.
Obtaining a video of something that wasn't out legally in a store was an adventure.
I had a roommate, buddy from NYU, Frank Reynolds. He recalls asking my permission. I could be.
And Gabe said to me, "You've got to see this. It's Raiders of the Lost Ark made by 10-year-old kids, and you watch them age over the course of the tape." I was like, "What are you talking about?" So we put it on, and it's mesmerizing. So I was like, I have to have a copy of this tape. So he duped the VHS for me, and I had it. And it was just known as the Raiders tape.
All right, Button-Umathon is this 24-hour film festival, rare films that haven't been seen for years, strange movies, sort of in the context of this is stuff you have to see.
At the beginning of the Button-Umathon, I said, "Harry, this is your birthday gift."
He was like, "Harry, I brought you something. I brought you something for the festival." And I was like, you know, it's programmed, Eli.
I don't know how to explain this, but it's Raiders of the Lost Ark, remade shot for shot by 11-year-old kids in 1982.
That sounds awesome.
I had a long break for breakfast where, you know, at about 7 o'clock in the morning, 8 o'clock in the morning,
there was going to be a 40-minute break.
Sun is coming up outside. We've been there since 10:30
we've
the
seen
day
like
before.
10 or 11 movies back to back to back to back.
Something like that.
Harry hadn't seen it yet. Nobody had seen it yet, I don't think, except for Eli, and I don't think anybody else in the theater even knew what we were going to watch.
So like the lights are on, everyone's kind of sitting there in this thing, and it's like starts coming up with Raiders of the Lost Ark, and everyone's kind of eating their food, and they stop and they look up and they start watching.
I was sitting in my seat. I had just come back, and they always would show little video clips in between the films just to fill time. You recognize it immediately, and you're like, oh, it's like these kids are acting out the first scene of Raiders. That's great. Let's watch.
People were in the perfect frame of mind for it because nobody was expecting it, but it's 200 of the most hardcore film fanatic people that you could get into a room.
Once you get the idol and the ball starts to roll, and you see like Chris running from it, and the way that it's edited together, and you like recognize all those shots, that's the first time I heard everybody cheer.
And pretty soon, like, people start applauding because everybody in that room knows this movie shot for shot. So they're thinking about the next thing, going, okay, are they going to pull this off? Are they going to pull this off?
The audience was just blown away. It is one of those audience experiences that I will never forget.
I remember, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it.
The scope. Every single one of us immediately was that 11, 12-year-old kid who was like, gosh, I wish I could do that.
You're not just watching Raiders, but you're rooting for the kids to succeed.
The tape brings the house down. Like, people are so into the movie that at a certain point, you know, before the ending chase of the cars, like, everyone had to see him get dragged by the car. And the crowd is going insane. We had to stop it to play the Two Towers.
You know, everybody knew the last film was going to be Two Towers. I mean, breakfast was only 45 minutes, so we only got 45 minutes into it.
People were almost in a mutiny state. And
when we turned it off, the audience booed.
And they actually had the crowd at Button-Umathon booing Stopping a Tape for the new Peter Jackson movie. No one that has never happened in the history of geekdom.
And it was a real
It was a
debate.
Sophie's Choice moment.
Yeah.
A lot of us were like, well, you know, Two Towers is going to be out in a week or two.
The buzz coming off of this was bigger than any movie that we played at Button-Umathon, even though it was just like 35 minutes or so of this crazy piece.
Tim and Eli and I became obsessed with finding these guys.
So I went through the credits of the videotape, and I Google searched every single person until I finally got Jason Lamb.
So I get this call from Eli Roth. I think he's a student. So I talked to him and talked to him like a student, like, yeah, that's okay.
And I said, no, I'm serious. He goes, well, you know, there was kind of a falling out with the guys. I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, I haven't talked to Chris or Eric. You know, we're not friends anymore. You know, there was like, we stopped speaking by the end of it. I'm like, really?
But I mean, bottom line, Eric, this is,
Yeah.
you got to finish this.
Also, I can go back and like sit and like check voicemail and peck through emails.
And how is that going to affect your spirit?
It would kill me.
It would kill you. I know.
Here's Alex. All right, excuse us. Hey, Alex.
Hey. Listen, Eric, this is it. Use this last 2 days wisely.
Thank you.
I'm not going to be willing to give you any more time off for the remainder of the year to work on this project.
That's understood. Thank you.
This is it. I need you to come back to work and convince me that being here is a priority, because right now, that's not how I feel.
I understand.
Good luck.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Gas?
Yeah.
I got the 2 days.
Woo! All right, go make your damn movie.
I'm gonna call Mark and Shane.
Y'all down
No,
there?
no,
We're gonna
What's your
say-
first shot?
So far, these are candidates to do today. Simple shots. Fourth group, fifth group, sixth group. Yes? All right.
Today, sun is shining, and any shot that I can get that doesn't require looking down at the mud, I'm gonna try to get.
And over here. And action. All right, moving on.
For us to all as a group just say, let's do it. Let's do it. And that's the spirit that they started in 1981.
Get 15 shots today, everybody. 15. And guess what? We've shot more footage today than any other day.
Good. You did.
I'd kiss you, but I'd get blood all over your face.
I know.
My wife had no idea I was an Indiana Jones fan. I buried everything away. I mean, I tucked it away. I didn't watch the movie. My jacket and all my stuff was completely buried away because I don't know. Meth scared the hell out of me. And I was going back down a really bad road and starting to hang out with some really bad people. So I locked myself in my apartment for 4 days. I went cold turkey.
Girlfriend called me and she wanted me to go on to her husband's set. He had a once a month variety show, and they have a band playing, and I'm thinking, okay, you know, variety access show, local TV station, it's going to be a bad band. So the band comes on, and this dramatic guy comes out, and he's singing, and he has a cape on and long hair.
Make it work.
And I'm like, okay, all right. The way I found out about his indie past is we were actually already married. And he started receiving phone calls, and I was like, what's going on? What are you talking about? And I had never heard about it. I hadn't seen the movie.
And I was working at a DVD quality assurance laboratory. And I had, you know, risen through the glorious corporate ranks to business development manager. And Eli called me at work.
And I was like, wow, is this Indiana Jones? And he's like, it's a long story, but there was some dark stuff happened.
You know, because I haven't even thought about Raiders. I hadn't thought about Indiana Jones. It was a part of myself that I had completely buried away.
They've sort of buried their dreams, their ambitions, all those dreams you have as a kid of, I want to grow up and make movies. And I've realized that by bringing out this tape, I've said, you can't forget this. This isn't going away. The guy, they want to do like another screening with you guys there. He's like, okay, well, I gotta talk to Eric.
I asked Cassie, you know, what do you think he's going to be like? And she said, he's going to be one of two things. Either he'll be totally cool, or, you know, and good old Chris, or he'll be too cool for you.
To go back into this world of Raiders, back to Jason and Eric, and experience that chemistry again, and I was really, really nervous. So when we got to the theater, there's hundreds of people waiting in line.
The line was literally going 3 blocks. It was just like the original Raiders of the Lost Ark.
We asked, what are all these people standing in line for?
So what do you think, man? Wow. Could you imagine this?
We're showing the Raiders movie. I was like, oh my God.
So what do you think, man? Incredible. 15 years later.
Eric was like, don't these people understand that this is something that we made in my mom's basement? I mean, they're going to be horrified.
It's a much better shot-for-shot remake of Raiders of the Lost Ark than, like, say, Gus Van Sant's Psycho, okay? Right? Because this thing's done with love. Every frame you can see.
And that night, seeing hundreds of people in the theater.
This eruption.
Yeah! 4-minute standing ovation at the end.
These chills went up my body, and Eric and I looked at each other, and I think we both got like a little teary-eyed, and it was just, what the hell happened?
I mean, it just obliterated all that bad baggage, and we're us again.
It's become a cult favorite, a remake of the Hollywood blockbuster Raiders of the Lost Ark.
They used real snakes, did their own stunts, and nearly burnt down their mom's house.
A remake of a Steven Spielberg blockbuster.
One, two, boom.
Okay, right.
Can there be a 2-beat?
Yes, I can.
Boom, 1 1000, 2 1000, boom.
At the end of this film, what do you want to happen, Chris?
Well, hopefully I'm going to fly to California and show it to Steven Spielberg, because my father does have connections with
If you can see where you want to be in 10 years' time or 20 years' time,
you have about a 97% advantage over the rest of mankind. Now, it won't go according to plan. There's a wonderful remark, you know, if you want to make God laugh, tell him you have a plan.
That was great, kid.
You like that?
Incredible. Are you kidding?
We're gonna do this scene in one shot. Okay, so I'm gonna blow the truck. Okay, and then 20, 30 seconds later, the plane will go.
It's gonna have the most deadly explosives in it, and
Okay, gang, so today's the day. We're gonna blow up the plane. It's gonna be a very important day. Above all things, we want everything to be safe.
Yeah, guys, this is pretty dangerous today. I mean, you know, you've heard me say, well, this is going to be dangerous, and this is going to be this, and oh, he might have got over dramatic. I'm really not getting dramatic today, guys. This is serious.
The last 5% is always the toughest to spit out. But I think everything's going by the rules, and I think it's wonderful.
After cut is a 30-minute cool down, and even the fire department knows I'll be the only one that goes into the area to make sure everything has gone. If it don't go after 30 minutes, it's not gonna go. Dear Lord, look over our Raiders crew, protect everyone on site, and let pyro cues go as pyro cues should go. Boom. In your name I pray.
When you're doing Hollywood films, you give visual. You give pans of gasoline. You give something that goes poof. You don't actually have shrapnel flying.
When they cross the line, it will blow. That's how we know that the truck will blow.
They are going to be out of frame. That's all I'm saying.
Stand by, Tyler. We have to solve the camera issue.
Of course.
Of course.
Bye, everyone. We need to solve the camera.
He's running across the set?
Before they hit. They both run off.
If they ever remake another movie, it's got to be one without fire in it. And with that,
Francisco is ready to go now and to take for real.
Yes.
And then Eric's like, well, we can't do miniatures. I'm like, why not? Hey, yeah, miniatures. You know, it'll be stupid. But the problem is,
Action.
Didn't do it on the plane. Damn.
Plane not go? Plane not go?
They were clear that the plane was supposed to go.
To Michael.
No, it shows I got it.
3, 2, 1.
Blew out the bottom of it. All the wires got cut.
We had this happen all set.
So what I can do, if you will keep rolling, I can reset for a huge fireball to go off underneath the plane. Michael, do we have fire on the plane?
After the intensity of being down there on that pyro team and then have this happen, it's such a crash. They should just do it digitally and keep everybody safe. That's all that matters right now.
Yeah.
TT, what are you going to do? You going to just toss that thing under there?
Yeah. I'm gonna get real dangerous.
Is he okay?
Yeah. That's why we get back.
Grab it.
Come on.
That's good right there. Stop. Get EMT out here. Get back.
He's breathing.
He's breathing.
Shockwave. Check his pulse.
Get his feet up. Get his feet up so he doesn't go into shock. Raising the barrel. Right here. Put him right here.
Easy shake.
Right down. Watch his leg. Hold C-spot.
Get the shot.
We got the shot, buddy. We did it.
Stay right there.
I'm the crew doctor.
We're good, buddy.
I want you to bring that thing.
I'm gonna have to open my truck. I need you to move.
Yes, sir.
Did Eric get a shot?
Yeah, Eric got a shot. Don't worry about the shot.
Am I on fire?
I hope not.
Why are you cutting a good shirt?
Eric.
Eric, where's Eric?
I'm here, Dan.
Did you get the shot?
I think we did.
Hold still.
Did it?
Step back. I haven't seen playback, but as far as I know, we're good.
Got it. Don't worry about it. I don't know what happened.
It's okay. The plane went boom. That's what happened. You did it.
I know, but I don't know why. I still got wire in my mouth. Oh, I was about to set another charge.
We're in Los Angeles, Chris, Jason, and I. We're driving down Sunset Boulevard. We get a ring, Chris takes it.
Okay. Yeah. Click. I had a meeting at DreamWorks with an executive there. I remember going, wait, I have something in my car. And I went, because I took the tape in my car. I was like, Steven Spielberg's office just called David, and he wants us to stop by tomorrow.
Yeah, right. Oh my God.
Steven Spielberg loves it. He's sending a copy to George Lucas. Harrison Ford is watching it. We take all the instructions and we drive onto the lot, on the Universal lot.
Big Jurassic Park gates part, and we drive in.
So we're waiting. Eric and I are on one side of the table. Jason's on the other side of the table.
Door opens and in walks Steven Spielberg.
He said, I got your tape and I watched it and I just wanted to meet you and tell you that it inspired even me.
Wow, what just happened? You know, Steven Spielberg likes our film that we spent our entire childhood doing. In case anyone hasn't already heard, Dan is okay. But I ran over there and Dan's first words were, "Did we get the shot?" That's Dan. And we did. So it was scarier than we all thought, but at the end of the day, we did it. Thank you all for your patience. I know you've been waiting in the hot.
Today, when I hear the music of Raiders, there's not a moment when the tears don't stream down my face. I mean, it's not the music of Raiders of the Lost Ark by Spielberg. It is the music of the movie that the children make.
I mean, it's a friggin' Norman Rockwell painting at 24 frames per second, right? You know, like, it's that friggin' America to me.
For me, I see home movie. For other people, they obviously see our go, go, go. So I'm convinced of that line that angels give grace to fools and children. It's true.
Magic of movies, man. That was insane. That was stunning shit, man.
Here were our children, you know, playing like adults making a movie. And it's like we kind of missed out on our childhood. But the whole time we realized we were filming our childhood.
The prize goes to those who can live life to the extent that they can absorb great experience. That's one of the real skills that we as filmmakers all have. You've got to be good at everything, and the best ones really are.
Don't you see it? It's there. Let's do it. Ah!
We're right out of Cairo. And Goblet, I want plenty of protection.
Jawohl, Herr Ob...